Hi, once again, happy Thanksgiving. If you were like me, during the election, got up every morning and before you checked the weather forecast, you checked realclearpolitics.com to see what the latest poll numbers were. And with 5 or 6 or 7 national polls coming out regularly, often on the same day, with contradictory findings, it was enough really to drive you crazy. But the Real Clear Politics average of polling in the four-way race had Hillary Clinton ahead by about 2 points, a little less, about 1.8 or 1.9. And you know what? They were absolutely accurate, dead on the money accurate. Hillary did indeed win the popular vote at latest count by 1.5 points. And the other polling that predicted in its later days that Trump had a good chance at carrying Pennsylvania and Michigan, those were also accurate, although they did not reflect the magnitude of the triumph Trump actually had. But no matter how difficult it was for pollsters to get the numbers right, because of differing turnouts, because of cell phones, because of people that won't participate in calls, because of all of those factors, or people that don't use the phone, they ended up making a correct call. And many of them, some of them were off by a few points. The polls I liked in particular, the ones that showed Trump ahead in Investors Business Daily, was off by 3 or 4 points. Trump did not win the popular vote. But Rasmussen was right on. The ABC poll was, I think, wrong. NBC was wrong, but CNN, I think, had it right. Reuters had it right. I forget who did what. But it's just very interesting. What nobody picked up on and nobody anticipated was the yawning gap between the Electoral College and the popular vote. Now, in the past, there's been virtually no gap. In 1876, there was a very large gap between the two. But that was not because of voting. That was because there were states that had seceded from the Union and were readmitted under governments that some didn't recognize and some did. And the question was, would the votes from those states be counted or not? And those questions really decided the election. Ultimately, a deal. The Republicans agreed to pull federal troops out of the South, and the Democrats agreed to let the Republicans win the election and put Rutherford B. Hayes in office. But in modern times, this has been almost impossible. Why is it happening now? Because there are 2 campaigns going on in the country. The one in swing states and the one in the other 35 or 37 states that are not swing states, be they blue or be they red. The swing states get all the candidates' visits, all of the paid advertising, all of the back and forth. The debates are held there, the rallies are held there, and they get a level of attention that the rest of the country does not. So in effect, there are 2 campaigns going on. The national campaign in 35 or 40 states, and the swing state campaign in a dozen states, which likely will determine the future of the election. Ultimately, this is not a very healthy situation. But it would be worse to go back to the popular vote, because if you did that, first, the potential for voter fraud would be unbelievable. Every city machine would do everything it could to get every last phony voter out. Right now, that doesn't really happen. There's no point in getting phony votes in New York City because the state's going to go Democrat, or in Chicago because Illinois is going to go Democrat, or in Los Angeles because California is going to go Democrat. There's no point in doing that. And therefore, the opportunities for fraud are very limited, and one can easily focus upon them. And secondly, with the massive number of illegal immigrants in the United States, the potential for them to invade the polling places and really affect the popular vote is enormous. Indeed, that's what may have happened on Election Day itself. So the Electoral College is a good system. It's one that we should continue with. It makes the democratic process much more transparent and much more evident, and makes monkeying with it much more difficult. But next time we sneer at pollsters, let's remember, these guys were right. and they did a hell of a good job. Thanks for watching.